गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदा यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदा यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 11, chapter entitled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwarka, Text 20. naṭa-nartaka-gandharvāḥ sūta-māgadha-vandinaḥ gāyanti cottamaśloka caritāni adbhutāni ca naṭa-nartaka-gandharvāḥ sūta-māgadha-vandinaḥ gāyanti cottamaśloka caritāni adbhutāni ca naṭa-nartaka-gandharvāḥ sūta-māgadha-vandinaḥ gāyanti cottamaśloka caritāni adbhutāni ca naṭa-nartaka-gandharvāḥ sūta-māgadha-vandinaḥ gāyanti uttamaśloka caritāni adbhutāni ca naṭa-nartaka-gandharvāḥ Word for word meaning. Nata, dramatists. Nartaka, dancers. Gandharvāḥ, celestial singers. Sūta, professional historians. Māgadha, professional genealogists. Vandinaḥ, professional learned speakers. Gāyanti, chant. Cha, respectively. Uttamaśloka, the Supreme Lord. Caritāni, activities. Adbhutāni, all superhuman. Cha, and. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra Bhagwan ki jai. Translation. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus, they proceeded on and on. Purport. It appears that 5,000 years ago, the society also needed the services of the dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, public speakers, etc. Dancers, singers, and dramatic artists mostly hailed from the śūdra community, whereas the learned historians, genealogists, and public speakers hailed from the brāhmaṇa community. All of them belonged to a particular caste, and they became so trained in their respective families. Such dramatists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and public speakers would dwell on the subject of the Lord's superhuman activities in different ages and millenniums, and not on ordinary events. Nor were they in chronological order. All the Purāṇas are historical facts described only in relation with the Supreme Lord in different ages and times, as well as on different planets also. Therefore, we do not find any chronological order. The modern historians, therefore, cannot catch up the link, and thus they unauthoritatively remark that the Purāṇas are all imaginary stories only. Even 100 years ago in India, all dramatic performances were centered around the superhuman activities of the Supreme Lord. The common people would be verily entertained by the performances of dramas, and yatra parties played wonderfully on the superhuman activities of the Lord. And thus, even the illiterate agriculturist would be a participant in the knowledge of Vedic literature, despite a considerable lack of academic qualifications. Therefore, expert players in drama, dancers, singers, speakers, etc., are required for the spiritual enlightenment of the common man. The genealogists would give account completely of the descendants of a particular family. Even at the present moment, the guides in the pilgrimage sites of India submit a complete account of genealogical tables before a newcomer. This wonderful act sometimes attracts more customers to receive such important information. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषः शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings and prayers from all the devotees assembled here so that I can speak something on this elevated subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Obviously, after the spectacular class of Sri Baldev Prabhu yesterday, so well researched and very nicely presented, I feel very humbled here. As usual, I am not very much prepared. By the empowerment of devotees and the Lord, I'll try to speak something. Please bless me so that whatever I speak is in parampara. It glorifies the Lord. It pleases all of you and purifies my heart. So this verse is last in the series where different residents of Dwarka are being described about, different categories of devotees, and even in this verse it is mentioned that there are Gandharvas present for welcoming the Lord. So this is the last verse in that series where how everybody according to their own capacity, their own skills is trying to welcome the Supreme Lord because he has returned after a long time. And after this, then further verses will describe how Lord reciprocates with all of them. So that's how the sequence will continue. So particularly here in this verse, 6 different categories of devotees are being mentioned with 6 different skill sets. So we'll just briefly see what all they were doing to welcome the Supreme Lord. Very interesting. So first one mentioned in the verse is Nata. They were dramatists. So dramatists are, as Prabhupada writes in the purport, that even 100 years ago in India, all dramatic performances were centered around superhuman activities of the Supreme Lord. So this element of entertainment is there all throughout in the societies from beginning of creation, and this entertainment is sought through mainly through dramas, singing, dancing, and other such activities. So Nata, the dramatists, uh, they were like. So I was hearing from one of the senior devotees. He was mentioning how they were welcoming the Supreme Lord. So it's not that it was a huge drama performance going on, 1 hour, 1.5 hour drama where Krishna, while entering, he has to wait and see the whole drama and then proceed further. So it is mentioned that just like we have wonderful dioramas in GV, different locations, different pastimes are being depicted. So these natas, these dramatists, they were actually standing in a diorama pose. So they were standing there personally. So some were depicting Damodar Leela, some were depicting other different pastimes of the Supreme Lord in their childhood. And while Krishna is proceeding further, he is seeing all these activities of his own. So because it is mentioned in the verse that gāyanti uttamaśloka caritāni. So they were all utilizing their skills in relationship with superhuman activities of the Lord, glorifying his activity. So that way, this natas, they were standing, and Lord is seeing them, his feeling their appreciation, reception as he is entering. Then when the next category is mentioned is nartaka, there were dancers. So it was, if you could just visualize how Sri Baldev was telling yesterday, Lord is entering and everybody literally is so eagerly waiting for him for all these years, and now he has come back and everybody is with their own capacity, with wholehearted devotion, they're welcoming him. So this natas, they tried their best to decorate themselves so close to that particular event or activity. Similarly, this nartakas, they were also dancing in a way that they're glorifying superhuman activities of the Lord. So you also must have witnessed sometimes Kathak and other dramas, dances, where this Dashavatar is depicted. I very fondly remember once during our PDC days with our Radheshyamanand Prabhu had performed this during Janmashtami. And all Dashavataras are depicted in that dance. So no speech, no dialogues, nothing. But just by dancing, all Dashavataras being described. And it is so nice and so absorbing. You have to use your concentration. Now which avatar is coming? What's happening? So it is excitement filled with. And that way, so even in recent past, there are mainly in Orissa, Bengal, Calcutta, so many performances are done for like different leelas of the Lord. So the whole drama goes without dialogues. They're dancing only and some background music going on. And just through actions and dances, they depict whole Ramayana and other leelas. So a lot of people get attracted. And then there are Gandharvas, celestial beings who are singing. So all these three categories, as Prabhupada he mentions, they belong to Shudra category. So the wrong misconception about Brahmana and Shudra, they are Shudras are good for nothing fellows. These misconceptions have been created by in recent past by politicians, and just to deviate people from following the Vedic culture, following the Vedic principle. However, here we can see, like yesterday's verse we saw, even people like prostitutes were having their position and they could also directly welcome the Supreme Lord in their own way. Here also this, apparently Shudra community people, they are side by side standing with Brahmana community people, the Magadhas, the Vandinas, the Sutas, and they are all welcoming the Supreme Lord. So this distinction is superficially created by recent, politicians and the mainly the Britishers and all. They created all this so that the Vedic culture could be broken apart and they can rule over. And by unfortunate means they are successful also. So now also we can see there are all these categories still present in society. Prabhupada gives very practically, he describes how in every society this division has to be there. Like Shudras, different people who do menial tasks in society, they all have to be there, but they have their own role in the society. Nobody can be, rejected or dejected. They are all required, and they all have, they all deserve equal respect because they are doing their part in service of the society, in service of Lord. So, and another important thing which Prabhupada is mentioning in this connection here is, Prabhupada is writing, common people would be verily entertained by the performances of drama, and yatra parties played wonderfully on the superhuman activities of the Lord. So, this entertainment, as I said earlier, is very much present always since the beginning. And the main important thing which has to be taken under consideration is entertainment was also centered around superhuman activities of the Lord. So, this is what Prabhupada also came to teach us. Krishna consciousness means everything is centered around Krishna. That's all. So, this is in our technical terms called as Yukta Vairagya. You do everything in connection with the Lord. Use everything for service of the Lord, for glorifying the Supreme Lord. So, this profound principle which was taught by Srila Rupa Goswami was very practically brought out by Srila Prabhupada during his lifetime and following in his footsteps. Even now, devotees in ISKCON, they are like so very well trained in engaging practically everything, every skill they have, every so-called mundane abilities they have in service of the Supreme Lord, just so that he can be glorified very well. And that's how Srila Prabhupada writes further that even if people, they didn't have, a particular academic qualification, so to say, according to their skills, they were like educated in Vedic knowledge. So he writes that, and thus even the illiterate agriculturist, farmers, even farmers who are considered, so to say, illiterate, because like Prabhupada is writing in the purport further that all these different categories of people were trained by their own family members and they would continue that profession. So farmers generally don't have to go to schools and get degree and all. They just since childhood they go along with their fathers, their elders. They learn the farming techniques and that's how they continue their life. But still, even though apparently they were academically illiterate, they were participating in knowledge of the Vedic literatures. So they also had spiritual knowledge. Even the, like they may not know the shlokas and all so very well, but they were aware of the philosophy just through all this entertainment medium. So it's so important. So nowadays there are devotees who focus on this. We say this tagline, enlightenment through entertainment. So they use mediums for entertainment to enlighten people in spiritual knowledge. So it's very much required because people are looking for entertainment and we are looking to give them enlightenment. So we can combine this together and both are happy. People get their entertainment, which is actual entertainment. So I was thinking how this particular propensity, first of all, propensity of entertainment and propensity of doing something superhuman is there in everyone, right? So nowadays we see entertainment series where people like Spider-Man and all. They appear to be superhuman and they are used for entertainment. But it is ultimately not satisfying to the heart so much because everything is, made up story. However, everything is fiction, right? Thank you. So, because everything is one person's concocted ideas, everything is fiction, ultimately it doesn't satisfy everyone. Some people will be satisfied for some time, and some may even want to give their own opinion, want to give their own criticism. And some, if they are capable, they may, in competition, bring out something else, something different, so that they prove their own abilities and their own point. That's how everybody remains in their own self-centered zone and nobody gets satisfied ultimately. Entertainment also becomes satisfying. But if entertainment is centered around Krishna or the superhuman activities of the Supreme Lord, and those activities they are actually superhuman. Like they are, like Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, they are found in histories, they are found in Purāṇas. Not that they are something unrealistic made up story which is being depicted about. So they actually have happened. And because these activities of the Supreme Lord, they are superhuman and they actually took place when they are repeated, and because they are in relationship with the Supreme Lord, that actually satisfies the soul. That's how entertainment also becomes enlightenment. Otherwise, all this entertainment ultimately leads to frustration in the modern society. So that's how this different category of people, they are using their skills so that Supreme Lord is glorified and welcomed. So yeah, Prabhupada is also mentioning in the purport how the necessity of such category of people, therefore Prabhupada is writing, expert players in drama, dancers, singers, speakers, etc. are required for the spiritual enlightenment of the common man. So every society, we should try our best to have such people. So that aspect of training, like earlier the system was so nice that training would automatically come through family culture. Every, like, family had their own profession. Like we see even now in Jagannath Puri, different devotees, they do different services for the Supreme Lord. And that's what they have been doing since their generations. Like we met one Panda, I just asked him, what is your seva for Jagannathji? He said, I bring pots, water pots for the Lord. And he is so satisfied and happy in his life. What they have been doing for ages is bringing water pots for the Jagannath. So that's how they get trained and they are so satisfied and happy. But here, current situation, we see everything is so distorted. So at least we can try our best to give training in dramas, like devotees here specifically. They work so hard every festival, before every festival, almost for weeks, months sometimes. They practice and present such amazing dramas. And just one drama, it creates such impression, such powerful impression, and everything becomes so actual. Everything becomes so realistic. We can actually appreciate what Supreme Lord did and how we are getting, saved by His mercy through these dramas. And further, so this, I would like to speak something on this principle of dovetailing. So Prabhupada would say, use this analogy a lot of times. So people have skills, so they are like lot of, every skill he tells it is a zero. So if they have, few skills, they have few zeros with them. Unless the one of Krishna is there in their life, all the skills are like zeros only. They have no value. So many people in current times, they are using their skills to benefit them, their own selves, or to some extent to the mundane society. The aim is to gain name, fame, or probably some personal benefit. So this utilization of skill, power, or whatever ability one has, if it is done for self benefit only, then it's like zero. And if same skill being used in order to bring about Krishna consciousness in heart of the people, then it becomes if somebody has one skill, then its value becomes 10. If somebody has two skills, its value becomes 100,000, like that. Prabhupada said that all these skills, just put one in front of them and your life is success in that way. So sometimes devotees, they have this query or confusion. Oh, this is a mundane skill. Like mainly nowadays, some technological advancement has happened and people are always on YouTube, Facebook and all. So some people, some devotees are encouraged, or they have some previous skills of design and all. So they are encouraged to design or make videos, posters for glorifying the Supreme Lord, for broadcasting His glories. But at times they may fear that, oh, this is too passionate activity too. So if right blessings are taken from superiors and guidance, under guidance, such skills are used for service of the Supreme Lord, then it's of great benefit. So many people spending a lot of hours on their screens. Screen time is increasing day by day, minute by minute. But what they're feeding their brains is some bogus. So many short videos on YouTube, my lord. Unlimited stock is available. But what they are getting is nothing. Few videos, one day suddenly a screen popped up, advertise came. One or two videos I just went through. Few seconds videos. But what I saw was one very small kid. He walked by a big man who was having a huge phone on his back pocket. And he very easily slit that phone from his pocket, and while walking, he crossed another of his small friend and he handed that phone to that boy and he went away. And by the time this guy realized my phone is gone, he saw only one kid running ahead of him and he checked him and there was nothing. The video ended. The thing was, so skillfully he stole the phone. That's all. So what people will learn from such videos is, we can steal also very nicely in fraction of seconds. But if such short videos are made, which are like Krishna conscious videos, something like, say somebody just ate one piece of Simply Wonderful and he became ecstatic. That's all. That's how people are making videos, no? And if something we can also try to make and float, we can use these skills and it will become a great glorification for the Supreme Lord. So obviously this all has to be done under guidance. If blessings and guidance are there, such skills can be of great use in Krishna consciousness. So this is one thing which I was thinking can be discussed, that doubtelling principle. And if somebody is not doing it under guidance, then there is great risk. One may end up misdirected, end up getting misdirected. And yeah, another aspect which is mainly highlighted in this purport and even in the verse, all these people, they were dwelling on the superhuman activities of the Supreme Lord. So this has to be very nicely practiced in all of our lives. Like that's why this Shravanam is stressed so much upon. Because the more we hear about the Supreme Lord's superhuman activities, more we become attracted to His character. And more we become attracted to Him, more we would like to go closer to Him. And that is why, that's how we will actually develop the genuine desire to return back to Godhead. So everything begins from Shravanam, and Shravanam of mainly all the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, which are all superhuman. Supreme Lord, nothing He did which was not superhuman. Even like a small baby, he performed superhuman activities. So, something about these superhuman acts I will further tell. Before that, I thought there was another important aspect which I noticed, which I thought is, this, if focus is one, like all of their focus, even though they were different field, people from different fields, drama, dance, so from category point of view, they are belonging to Shudra, Brahmana, but they are all staying in same society together happily because their focus is pleasing the Supreme Lord. Their center is one. Similarly, if we also try our best to keep Krishna in center, like Prabhupada tells so many times this example of United Nations. Everybody is holding their own flag and no nation is united. All have their own flag to be, हमारा झंडा ऊपर होना चाहिए. So, although they gave the name to the whole group as United Nations, nobody is united because everybody is in their heart having their own country's agenda to fulfill. Yeah? And that's how we see there are wars and so many disturbances all through the globe. Just because center is not Krishna. But if Krishna is the center, then whole society, the whole country becomes so happy, so peaceful. Like we see here. They are doing their own skills, they are using their own abilities, and everybody is happily glorifying Krishna. Nobody is quarreling, nobody is fighting with each other. So, when Krishna becomes the center, then everything becomes perfect, peaceful, and everything is successful. And further, the superhuman activities of the Supreme Lord. So, I was just thinking, the more one keeps Krishna in his heart, who performs such superhuman activities, the more that person also becomes capable of doing superhuman activities. And the most profound example of this is Srila Prabhupada himself. Right? He could do such superhuman activities. So many people, specifically, like here this word has come, historians, great historians or genealogists. So there are people during Srila Prabhupada times, they became so amazed by seeing his progress in forming a spiritual society. They were literally shocked. They were so impressed. They had never in their studies seen that one person could do such a great thing by forming a spiritual organization. Even big businessmen could not achieve such great success in such a short time. And Srila Prabhupada, he started a spiritual society with Krishna in center. And all throughout his life, he thoroughly captured Krishna in his heart, who also performed superhuman activities. He himself could do such powerful superhuman activities. Traveling throughout the globe, 14 years, in 12 years, 14 times. Correct? 12 years, 14 times. Establishing 108 temples and running the whole society so perfectly. Throughout the day, writing so many letters. If we just keep on pondering how Prabhupada one day went, like we are recently reading this, during Prasadam time, we are reading book by Kurma Prabhu. Yesterday only, I think, we read how two devotees wrote letter to Srila Prabhupada and they sought his guidance. We would like to enter in politics because their inclination was towards politics. So Prabhupada encouraged them. And he said that as long as you are trying to propagate Krishna consciousness through politics, then politics also is good. Like here people are dramatists, dancers. As long as they are glorifying Krishna through their area of interest, their area of skill, that is encouraged, that is good. So Prabhupada also encouraged those two devotees who wrote letter that can we enter politics. Prabhupada said, yes, if you can do, if you can bring about Krishna consciousness in the heart of people through politics, then you are encouraged to go. So even Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur predicted that a day will come when there will be, Supreme Court judge will be sitting with a Vaishnav Tilak on the judgment chair. So this is what one has to really keep on working on his own self and encourage even others, because we cannot expect a newcomer suddenly to leave away everything and just become a very typical sadhaka kind of person who just very obviously Krishna consciousness is so dynamic that there is no bound, there is no restriction anywhere. But especially for newcomers, to encourage them, such thing can be of great use. And once they get higher taste in Krishna consciousness by utilizing their skills, then they themselves will understand whether should I continue to use this skill in Krishna service, or it is time for me to now focus completely on pure devotional service. So, and even if he continues for rest of his life using that skill in Krishna service, that's perfection of his life. So this is how we can encourage even newcomers to come to Krishna consciousness. Very easy, and it becomes very easy. They also feel connected. Like there are people who know different instruments like guitar and all. So we can invite them for festival kirtans. The kirtan will also sound very melodious, and they also render some service to the Supreme Lord. And they get mercy and they progress in Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada did such superhuman activity. And if one follows in footsteps of such superhuman Lord and such superhuman pure devotees, one also can become superhuman. Even a condition. So sometimes one may think that, oh, Srila Prabhupada, Shakti Avatar, he was Senapati Bhakta empowered Acharya. So he could do it. But we are, sadhakas, we are conditioned souls, we are nitya baddha. How much we can do? But we can see from lives of Srila Prabhupada disciples, they also have shown that they did superhuman activities. Tamal Krishna, one soul, just give a name and we can see they have also done superhuman activities during their lifetime. And what to speak if such superhumans come together and do a joint mission. So one very prominent example which comes to my mind is the whole Chaitanya Charitamrit printing marathon, which was led by few people, which was mainly headed by His Holiness Rameshwar Swami then. So Rameshwar Prabhu, he has given amazing series of lectures in Juhu, how this whole Chaitanya Charitamrit was published just in 2 months, all 17 volumes, 19 volumes. So Prabhupada pushed them. Earlier the BBT was doing one book in 3 or 6 months, 3 months, one book in 3 months. And after Prabhupada gave the challenge to Rameshwar Swami during morning walk that I want all the books in 2 months. So first of all, he became shocked, and out of natural emotions, he just spoke out, impossible. And Prabhupada said, impossible is the word in the Fool's Dictionary. So he thought, no, Prabhupada is serious. He is not joking with me. He's serious and he wants to give us this target. So immediately he, along with few other devotees, they had a meeting, discussion and all. And instantly, he went back to Srila Prabhupada after a few hours and said, oh Prabhupada, we have come with a great plan. And earlier we were able to give one book in 3 months, but now we will give 2 books in 1 month. So almost 12 times probably. They did some mathematics and they came 12 times increased the publishing speed. And Prabhupada was still not satisfied. He said, I want all 17 volumes in 2 months. And he was really taken aback. Still, he said, okay, Prabhupada, give me some more time. And then he came up with few conditions that, Prabhupada, I want your access all the time. You should be here staying in Boston with us. Every time we need we have some query, you should be available. and he said, I want to invite all devotees who have their own skills to come to Boston, leaving their current services for till the time we complete this. And he said, you should be available on Telegram also. Like, we need your permission to use telephones. Prabhupada was very strict about it, using telephones that time. But he said, we need your permission to use telephone. Anytime we want, we will call up and ask questions and instantly get replies so that we will save time. And that's how they organized the whole marathon of printing Chaitanya Charitamrita. And literally 24/7, the printing was going on. There was no moment devotees were unengaged. And it was done in a batch-wise fashion. Everything was assembly lined. And there were times where painters who are painting. So we see such amazing paintings in Chaitanya Charitamrita, all our Prabhupada books, such amazing paintings. So all CC paintings are not done by just one artist. Most of them are done by multiple artists. So one painter, while painting, he would get so tired that he is like dead and slept on the floor right there. हाथ से ब्रश गिर जाता था, इतना थक जाते थे. And literally that time he would just doze off on the floor, and another painter would instantly pick up the brush and continue. And that's how they did everything, and the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita came up. When Prabhupada saw on the altar, when it was printed, and Shringar Darshan was, what tithi it was? There was some tithi or just a day? It was a normal day, but Shringar Darshan, all books were, even all devotees are crying while taking darshan. Chaitanya Charitamrita is kept on the altar. And even Srila Prabhupada was into tears. So we can see, even, so to say, conditioned soul like us can perform superhuman activities if we wholeheartedly take shelter of the superhuman Supreme Lord. So that's how I wanted to share. Another point which Rameshwar Prabhu mentions in this lecture. So artists, obviously they are very possessive about their own art. They don't at all. It becomes very irritating for them if somebody messes with their own particular art. So there was one such painter who was, obviously he was a devotee, but that particular day when he kind of crashed after his long hours of seva, and another devotee completed his remaining painting. When that devotee woke up, he felt so angry, he felt so agitated, and he went charging in the office of Rameshwar Prabhu. And he just pushed the door, flunked open, and he saw Rameshwar Prabhu, few other leaders, they were having some intense meeting going on, discussing where we are at current position and how much target is remaining. And as soon as he opened the door, Rameshwar Prabhu and that devotee, their eyes met. Rameshwar Prabhu could see, he is into total anger. But when he saw devotees, using their all-time energy to plan and please Srila Prabhupada, instantly his anger transformed into love. He broke down into tears rather than going and shouting, and probably he would have hit somebody in that frenzy. But suddenly the emotions completely got transformed, and he ran to Rameshwar Prabhu and fell at his feet, embraced his feet and started crying, please forgive me. So all anarthas, everything can be also conquered if we just keep Krishna in our center. So this is what a few things I had to share. Please bless me so that I can also dovetail whatever propensities I have in Krishna's service and save myself from Maya service. And although I'm a zero, I can keep Krishna in center, and that one can bring some value to my life. Jai. Time is also up. Jai Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.